방금 전에 이제 버스 타가지고 지금 이제 출발하고 있거든요.
Hey guys, how is the volume for the PA? You guys are not too loud, not too quiet?
So good.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, let me first of all tell you where we are right now. Up ahead of us is Spadina. So Spadina is one of the major streets of downtown Toronto, but if you go right that way, you're gonna head into Chinatown. And Chinatown is a fun place where you can get really good food and cheap shopping there, and it's actually pretty close to the Art Gallery of Ontario as well. So that's a fun place to walk around if you do have some extra time. On the left side, you can see the Rogers Center, which our baseball team plays at, and that's always fun to do if you have extra time to go to a baseball game. And then the CN Tower, of course. When we get to Niagara, we're going to have a miniature CN Tower. We call it the Skylon Tower. So that street that we were just on, it's called Front Street. The reason that it's called Front Street is because that used to be the front of Toronto facing Lake Ontario. But I got really thirsty one day and I drank all the water, and now the lake is all the way down there. So if I drive for another few minutes, that's when we're going to hit Lake Ontario. Now, Toronto is actually an indigenous name. It means people on the water, so it suits the name, the street we were just on, Front Street. The thing about Toronto is, it wasn't always called Toronto. So that's what the indigenous people that were living here called it. But when the British were here, I've got a lot of friends from London today, so you guys probably know very well that there's a lot of York. And you know, in America, there's New York. In Canada, you know, just in here and also north of here, we got a lot of neighborhoods with the York name as well. Here, I'm driving through a street called Fort York. And so for about 70 years, Toronto was renamed to York. And for a little while, that was the capital of Upper Canada. I'm talking hundreds of years ago. What happened is the people who lived here got kind of tired of being confused all the time with all the Yorks. So they ended up changing the name back to Toronto eventually, which again means people by the water, because that was the indigenous name, the original one that we know it as, and that name has stuck. Where I'm about to enter right now is called the Gardiner Expressway. They actually renamed it to the Gardiner parking lot recently because they closed half of the lanes for construction for about 3 to 50 years. So it should be okay. Usually it's okay this time. But on the way back, you know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. Otherwise, I might turn this into a little airplane and fly us back into the city. Okay, so while we're here, approaching the highway, let me try and guess where everybody's from. But Leonie, I didn't ask you where you were from.
I'm from Germany.
From Germany? Okay. So I already asked I think I got everybody on board, and let me see if I can remember. We got a lot of countries today. Canada. That's everyone. So we've got Canada, of course, with Leo over here. We've got the United States, I think Tennessee. We've got the England, so a few different groups from England. We've got Scotland. We've got Germany. We've got Indonesia. We've got the Philippines. We've got Japan. We have South Korea. And I think that's everybody. Did I miss anything? Any country? Australia. No, I didn't. I think I said that first, huh? I remember.
You should have.
10 minutes ago when I said, I started 10 minutes ago when I repeated after you told me you're from Australia. That's actually when I started this whole exercise. So, yeah, that's a lot of countries. Usually I have like, you know, a solid 3, 4, 5. But we've got the United Nations with us today. So I don't know if you guys know this, but where I was driving to pick you all up from, we've actually got a whole underground world under there. So we built a massive kind of little underground network that connects all the major subway systems and all the major office buildings and residential buildings and those types of things in the downtown Toronto core. it can get very cold here in the winter. I don't know if any of you know that Canada gets cold, but it could. So we built that, and if you work downtown and you live, let's say, 45 minutes north or an hour north at one of the subway stations, you can go underground in that subway station, and if you work at the right spot, you could literally just continue underground and never see the outside world, which is great when it's cold, not so great when it's hot and stuffy. But that underground world is also full of retail stores, restaurants, and things like that. So if you do have a chance to check it out, that is something cool to walk by. It's called Path. So if you walk around and you see Path anywhere, that's what that's referring to. And over on the right side, all of you are doing, almost all of you are doing the boat cruise in Niagara Falls today. So that's your captain, and that's the boat we're going to take. So he's just stretching before we get going. Up ahead of us, it's a neighborhood called Liberty Village. So it's a very fun, young neighborhood. It started really taking off about 15 years ago, so a lot of those buildings are part of Liberty Village. They've also got a lot of nice parks there. Where I was picking you guys all up from was mostly residential though. It was more like people living there and not as much, sorry, it's mostly office, so more like people working there. There's a lot of, big condo buildings now as well, especially in the last 10-15 years. But it's, huge office network. So a lot of people come downtown Toronto to work, whether finance, technology, whatever, field they're in. I mentioned before I was in technology, so I used to come downtown. Anyone who works at one of the major banks, good chance they might come downtown as well if they're in the head office. And that's why there's a lot of traffic usually in and out of the city, and a lot of people using the transit system. I think it's 2 million per day are using the TTC. A lot of people go to the office, especially Tuesday to Thursday, and then Monday, Friday is more work from home days, so it's a bit more relaxed downtown.
지금 기사 아저씨가 여기 주변 풍경에 대해서 이런저런 설명해 주셨어요. 이제 그 빌딩 이제 언제 지어졌는지, 어떤 용도로 쓰는지, 농담으로 이제 아까 전에 배 옆에 있는 아저씨가 스트레칭 하는데 그 아저씨가 선장이라는 등 토론토란 도시의 그 유래에 대해서도 알려주고
Guys, I talk so
했거든요.
much about the TTC, our transit operator with the subways and the buses. This is our first TTC bus we get to see for the day on the left. So if you ever see one of those, you can hop on and you can get through most of the downtown core easily with our subway system and our bus system. It's very good. If you go on Google Maps, they have a bus option. You could navigate pretty much anywhere you needed to through there and probably save a bunch of Uber money. But anyways, while we're driving here, let me now tell you what we have in store for the day. So we're gonna go to New York. Now we're gonna start off driving towards the waterfalls, and there's a few really cool places on the way that we're gonna stop by. So generally, these are things that people might not know about when they hear about Niagara Falls, or local people. If I tell anyone that I go there, my friends, none of them have ever been there. So the first one that we're going to check out is the floral clock. That is a very beautiful clock made up of thousands of little flowers that every year they set up a new design. It's been going on since I believe 1950 or 1954. So basically we have a school of horticulture there in Niagara College, which is one of the colleges in the area. And as part of the programs there, they have school of horticulture. That's where they go through landscaping, flowers, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. They learn about taking care of nature. And so those students go and create a lot of beauty around Niagara Falls, including the floral clock. That clock in particular, I think this year has a very nice design. Last year wasn't the best, but this year it's a really nice one, so it's a great spot for photos. And it's also going to be a nice spot to use restrooms before we make our way to, down the trip. So we'll stop there for about 10 minutes. After that, we're then going to continue down our way, and we're going to go to check out the Niagara Whirlpool, which I'll tell you what that is as we drive there, but that's a pretty cool part of the Niagara waterfall story. Then we're going to go and do something very Canadian, and we're gonna stop at this maple syrup tasting shop. So we're gonna try some really delicious and sweet maple syrup. There's 3 types that they're gonna give you. And just a hint, if you do like sweets, they do give seconds if you ask them nicely sometimes. So you'll try 3 of those types of maple syrup. They'll show you how the actual process, they'll talk to you about how it's made and all of that for about 6-7 minutes. And also they have a chocolate tasting bar, so you can try some chocolate that they bring over from a local chocolate factory. By the way, side note, on our left side, that is our stadium, the BMO field, Bank of Montreal field. That's where our soccer and football teams play. Or, as my European friends know it, our football teams and our American football teams play. Also, in August, around that area, behind that to the left, they have something called the Canada National Exhibition, or the CNE. Like if you watch a movie and you see a town fair where everybody goes and, you know, loses money at the carnival games trying to win a little stuffed toy, and there's like a, you know, here we have a giant food expo with like crazy weird foods like deep fried Mars bars and those types of things. So that's over there. They also have a World Expo. It's starting in August if anyone does happen to be back in the area then. Anyways, nothing interesting to tell you about this part of the drive, so I will continue with the itinerary. We're gonna go to the whirlpool, and I'll tell you about the whirlpool story. Oh, sorry, maple syrup. We're gonna try 3 types of maple syrup there. There's gonna be the chocolate that they bring over from a local chocolate factory you can try, and also